give it a go. I love watching them. I enjoy watching them, especially in the change of seasons, to see what people's plans are. And I'm definitely starting to think about my 2025 fall plans. But I first wanted to do a review of what I've knit so far this year, kind of as an intro to me and to my knitting background this year. So please grab yourself a warm drink, light a candle, get your knitting. I am drinking Nescafe Instant. It's my go-to in this season of life. I'm a busy mom of 3, and I have 2 older kids and a toddler at home. So, which she'll probably interrupt us, and that's fine. This year for me was definitely more of an accessories knitting year than garments. Last year I knit a lot of garments. I knit a lot of garments for my kids and myself. I'm wearing my the Olive vest from Pernille Larson, knitting for Olive. Definitely my most worn knit. It's great for every time of year. But this year was definitely an accessories season for me, mostly because my toddler is very active and I need to keep my projects small because I'm on the go a lot. I prefer to pick up my knits with me and carry them, and so that they need to be small and portable. But I did get 2 sweaters done. I got 1 shawl done, 4 hats, and 3 pairs of socks so far. So I'll start with the sweaters. The 2 sweaters that I knit were the same pattern, and it's the No Frills Sweater Junior by Petite Knit. I knit one for my son and my daughter, my oldest and middle child. This one is for my son. It is the size 10 to 12 in the pattern. This is it. He loves it. I'll talk a little bit more about what he doesn't love about it, but I love it. I can actually fit into it as like a cropped snug fit. I'll put more footage of this in the B-roll since it's going to be hard to show in the camera. For this one I used US 4 for the ribbing and US 7 for the body. I used 8 50-gram skeins of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in the color Heather Merlot. And my son likes the warmth. He's definitely loves to be bundled up. He's a woolly kind of kid. But this is scratchy for him on the neck. So he prefers to wear it with a turtleneck underneath. Definitely not next to skin for him. But I do definitely borrow it. I like to wear it a lot. The 2 modifications I made were, I did a folded neckband. I just love that thicker, more polished look. It feels a little more durable also. And then the neck, for both the neck and the hems, I do 2x2 ribbing. I really like the look of 2x2 ribbing. Just again, looks a little more sturdy, a little more robust, a little more textured. I really like to do that. And I made both of these, or I made his a tad longer in the arms and the body to accommodate growth. So this smaller one, this pink one here, is for my daughter. I made it for her, the deadline for me for this self-imposed deadline was her class Valentine's Day party this past, February. And so that was the time of year that I knit this. For this yarn, I did US 3 for the ribbing and US 6 needle for the body. This yarn is DK weight from my mother-in-law who visited Turkey, and she bought me some yarn from there. I'm not sure what exactly the fiber is because I couldn't read the label, but I think it has some acrylic in it. Feels a little squeaky, and it's nothing like I've knit with before. But my daughter likes it. It's not scratchy. It's definitely warm, but not too hot. And with hers, I made the body a little shorter. I stopped shorter on the body and I made a really long hem just to give it a little more of a feminine, girly look, but still accommodates for growth. Now the shawl that I knit, I'm going to put this footage on B-roll because I already gave it to my mom. So I gifted my mom the shawl the last time we went home. It was the first time that I did a lacework shawl. I used US 6, my bamboo Chaogu needles, which I love for shawl knitting. It just feels a little more relaxed, slow pace, very tactile, more of a restful. Shawls for me are less of a product knit and more of a process knit. And so it definitely was a process. I learned with lace knitting, you definitely want to use stitch markers to keep track of the repeat sections. So that was a good learning experience for me. I do prefer learning those types of things in accessories and not garments because it's easier to rip back. You're not doing a lot of shaping in addition to the new techniques. So I think that's a nice way to learn new techniques is on accessories, and then when you're comfortable with it, you can bring it into a garment or try a garment that uses that same technique. For this, the yarn that I used was the Woolly Knit 4-ply merino cone held double in color Roja Red. And I have a lot of these woolly knit cones and I really like them. I don't love to keep a huge stash. I can go into that in another video, but I found that cones, having a handful of cones on basic but also fun colors I know we like, keeping those around allows me to quote unquote keep a small stash but have a lot of yarn available. It is fingering, so you can do fingering weight projects. There's plenty of it in a cone, so you can hold it double for DK weight. You can add mohair, and it's really good value for what you get. This knit was the first knit of the calendar year, and so it holds a special place in my heart. I remember knitting it when my daughter was sick, so we were in her room a lot, kind of quarantining from the others in the house. They didn't get it, and so it holds that memory of just kind of snuggling up after the new year in her room together. Which is one of the great things about knitting, is how all of the things that you make not only do have a finished product at the end, but you also have memories. It's like a time capsule. I know many of you probably feel the same way. The only thing differently I would have done with this shawl is make it a little bit longer. Probably anybody who's ever knit a shawl can relate to always regretting not making it a tad bit longer. A shawl is probably one of these things where it's like the bigger the better, but that's all right. It's still great. It's still warm. It's cute and fun. So yeah, now I'm going to start on the 3 pairs of socks that I made. First pair was, and these have been worn like all year, so forgive if they look shabby, but yeah, we use our knits. The first are the fleece stitch socks for my daughter. This is a pattern from the Sock Project book by Summer Lee. I'm sure a lot of you know it. My sock knitting is very much influenced by her. The fleece stitch is a really sweet, easy pattern. I don't know if you'd call it color work. I call it color work. It was my first color work sock. And I think it's just a really good intro to it because you're only working with 2 colors and you are learning floats gently in a simple way. You're not having to manage many different colors, and so this is a good pattern, I would say, for beginner color work knitters. I used Lang Yarns Shawl in the color Melon, and then I think the white was just some scrap Cascade Heritage sock yarn that I had. So to knit these, I used the 8-inch shorties in US size 1.5. I'm new this year to using shorty circulars. They're like, this size round to knit socks. And I found that a kid's small sock is definitely the smallest size of sock you can knit on that. I found that with US size 1, my fingers cramp, but 1.5, for some reason, it's fine. So, and gauge wise, I don't find it's particularly loose being on 1.5 needle versus 1. So we're just gonna stick with it for now unless they complain. For this and the next one, I'm gonna show you, actually all my socks, all 3 socks. I do a sock tube, and then I do magic loop for the toe, and I do an afterthought heel. I cut in for the afterthought heel and do magic loop on that. It's essentially the toe, but for the toe recipe, if you will, but on the heel location. And that works really well for me. It's simple. It helps me just turn through socks a little bit more quickly. Maybe not as robust, but my kids mostly wear their socks at home on the weekends for sleeping, just lounging around the house anyways, so they're not, in their shoes at school. They don't need to be that robust. So that's what I do right now. The next pair of socks are for my son, also from the same book, same size. I made them just a little bit longer foot-wise, and in her book she describes how to, adjust for different foot lengths within one size. I used the pattern Trompe le Monde, and again, beginner color work pattern. Actually, I think it looks like color work, but it's just slip stitches. You're not really, there aren't any floats except for the stripes, just carrying the color up. And so it looks like color work. I don't know, maybe some knitters would, I don't know if it's technically not color work. Anyway, 2 colors in a pattern, I call it color work. It was really fun to do. It was fun to slip the stitches. It's fun to change the colors. When you get to the foot, you don't slip the stitches obviously on the bottom of the foot, so it doesn't, so there aren't bumps and ridges for the person to step on. For these socks, I used the yarn Knit Pick Stroll. I don't have the colors on me, but it's like a navy color and a light blue, bright blue color. My son and I chose these together because they look kind of Minecraft-y. So that was the one that popped out to him in the book. The other nice thing about this pattern is there are very few ends to weave in, because a lot of it is just slip stitches and you carry up the stripe colors, and so there's as many ends to weave in as like a normal, like solid or 2-color sock. All right, and the most recent pair of socks that I finished this year, the 3rd pair of socks, are a, I guess, self-drafted recipe inspired by Marlene Knits' YouTube knitting podcast. She talks about how her basic kind of go-to pattern for socks is a 3x1 rib for the leg, 1x1 for the cuff, and so I thought I'd give that a go, and it's really nice. I like that for a gift knit, if you don't know the exact size of the person or they're not there to try it on, having a rib in the leg gives it a little more of a, safety, I guess, for sizing. These are going to be for my mom. I'm going to send them out with a birthday box for my dad. I'm going to sneak these in there for her with some chocolate. And I knit these on our summer road trip to Minnesota to visit them and my hometown. And I thought I was going to leave them there. I was going to finish them and leave them there with her. But of course I finished only 1 sock on the trip. That was fine because I was able to knit some of the 2nd sock. I finished 1 there and I knit the 2nd sock on the way home, on the drive home. This yarn is Cascade Heritage Sock. I use a lot of that. It's what my craft store down the road it's their best sock yarn that they have, and it's really good. I do like it, and there's a lot of range of colors. This one is I don't have the exact number, but it's like a dark turquoise. My daughter helped pick it out for her, so that was also kind of sweet. And we know she likes greens and blues and bluey greens, so this one I think will be suited to her. So I described kind of the pattern. I used the sizing and stitch counts from Summer Lee's book in the section where she talks about the size guidelines. And then I did, as I explained before, 1x1 rib, 3x1 throughout here. I used the shorties like I did with my kids' socks, and again magic loop for the toe, and an afterthought heel also with magic loop. So this was a nice bridge from summer to fall knit. It's a little bit darker, a little bit more textured. So this was really nice to do and to finish for her. All right, my last 4 knits are hats. 2 baby bear balaclavas and 2 Bonjour high hats. I love hat patterns, and I tend to knit multiples of them for various people. When my 3rd child was a baby, I bought the baby bear balaclava pattern, as I noticed it had a really great size range, and so I've knit, these are maybe the 3rd and 4th ones I've knit. I really like them. So I knit these hats for my daughters. One is the size 4 to 8, that's the larger one, and the other is the size 2 to 4. And I believe this is the largest size. And it's got a lot of room. She's 8, and I could see her wearing this another year. I used US needle size 4. Also used woolly knit merino 4-ply from the Cone. This is the color Bias, and I held it double for this, so it's DK weight. And this uses very little yarn. It's pretty impressive for the amount of yarn. I have an end to weave in here. That's all right. This uses under 100 grams for each. I held these double. I held the yarn double, and I wish next time around, I'll figure out a fingering weight version way to do this, because it's too warm for our moderate climate in the Pacific Northwest. My kids do get rather warm in this in the fall or the spring. It's definitely, if it's snowing, it's perfect, but it doesn't snow here very often. So they like it, they wear it, they wear it and then take it off, and that's fine. The nice thing about a balaclava is it can be taken off like a hood. It's around their neck, and so they just can take it down like that, and then when they need it, they put it back up, so that's nice. There's lots of short row shaping, and so if that's a technique you want to learn, this is a great exercise for it. That's not a garment. Again, I recommend doing these new techniques on smaller items so you can rip back and not feel like too invested in time or yarn, where if you have to rip back you feel really bad and just get turned off from the whole idea. Definitely start small with new techniques. So that was a good thing about that. Yeah, so in general, I love the pattern. I love the wearability of it. Next time I would just choose lighter yarn. I don't know if I said that this is the Baby Bear Balaclava pattern by Pernille Larsen from Knitting for Olive. So that's her, the same designer as that made the olive vest pattern. Okay, take a sip of coffee here. All right, this year I also made 2 Bonjour high hats from Espace Tricot. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm only showing one because the one of them I already gifted. It was the exact same color, size, everything as this. Well, it's really only one size. It's exact same yarn. I gifted that one, and I'm going to gift this one. It's going to be mailed to a friend in Colorado. I think this is the perfect gift hat because it's impressive. It's lightweight. It's impressive because it's 2 strands of mohair, and so it's light and fluffy, and it's just like giving them a hug on their head, I guess. And it's just so cozy. And it's really a non-offensive design. Like, there's nothing that somebody might not like about it. It's just basic ribbing on the bottom, and then you knit a certain length for the, not body, but for the head before you do crown shaping. It can be knit longer to make it more slouchy. It can be knit shorter to make it more of a form-fitting hat. I think I knit it in like the medium range. You can, I'll show pictures, but you can kind of wear it up your head to make it a little more slouchy. You can wear it down a little further to make it more form-fitting. So it's really flexible in that way. This is a great summer knit because it is so lightweight and airy. I really liked knitting these in the summer. That was nice. The ribbing is twisted rib. It's a really sweet, elegant touch, I think, to an otherwise seemingly basic shape of a hat. So that's a really nice element of the design. I used US size 6 for the ribbing and a couple inches, and then the pattern has you go up to US size 7 to give it a little bit of a space for the slouch, I think. The yarn that I use is Drops Kid Silk Mohair in the color gray. So that's this. I'm currently knitting myself. Well, I'll go into my current works in progress in another video, maybe. So I can tell you about the version I'm knitting for myself next. Yes, so that is my 2025 knits so far. I knit a few sweaters and more accessories, and that's fine. Every year does not need to be a big garment year. When my youngest child was born a couple years ago, I was able to get a lot of baby and toddler and kid knits done, more garments, because she was more stationary, didn't move as much, but as she's gotten more active, it's a little harder to do that. But now I feel like 2 going into 3, I think that I can make some more garments happen. If you're interested in my next video, I can cover works in progress and my fall knitting plans. I really enjoy the YouTube knitting community. I think it's a really sweet place of the internet, and I'm so grateful to all the knitting YouTube podcasters that have shared their inspiration and shared their knits. And I just wanted to participate in that community and give back. And for any mom out there who's a knitter who may feel like they're gonna throw in the towel with this hobby because it sometimes feels impossible to get done or to sit down and do, I just want to encourage you to keep going. Smaller knits are okay. You don't have to be a prolific knitter to still enjoy it and to still find yourself in your craft. So thank you for joining me today, and happy knitting.